Should we give Penny another minute or two?
Sure.
All right.
How many of us have her mobile? Want to give her a try? I can do. I'll give her a call right now.
Thank you.
I'm not hearing anybody, sorry.
No. We'll give John a minute to reconnect. I think maybe he's giving it a second shot. Can you hear us now, John?
Penny's connecting.
Oh, great. John, can you hear us okay?
This is John. Yeah, I can't hear anything on the phone.
We can hear
I
you.
was just about to, I can mute. Sorry.
You sign language?
He's going to log in with his iPad.
Okay.
I can hear. I think I can.
We
Yeah.
can hear you clearly. Can you hear us now?
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I've not been the computer. I have a new laptop, and for some reason it didn't work. Sorry about that.
I heard from Penny. She said to go ahead and start, and she would jump in as soon as she can connect.
All right, let's do it.
Andy can't hear you now.
Hi. Sorry about this. Okay. Yikes.
You haven't
Sorry.
missed, you haven't missed anything.
So sorry. I was out blowing leaves before it rained.
With a gas or electric blower?
Electric, thank you very
Okay,
much.
just-
The quiet
We,
kind.
we need to get Andy, so we can hear Andy.
That's so
Enter
weird.
your audio, Andy.
Yeah, he knows now. My guess is he can hear us. No, he can't. Maybe.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he
You
can
can't.
hear us. We can't hear him.
And he just was on. That's very strange.
Perhaps only 8 of 9 can be on at one time.
If that was the case, soon we'd be out of business. And you want to just try reconnecting?
Frozen.
Oh, he is. I thought he was like a mime. That is so strange.
That's weird. I don't know what's going on. He connected with his phone, I think. I don't know.
I switched to my iPad and it worked surprisingly, but crazy.
Yeah, I'm on my iPad too.
Yep, same.
I think that's what he's trying to do right now.
I can't open my,
Kristen, can you call me?
Here we go. Here we go. We hear you there, Andy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's weird. Okay,
very faintly. Very faintly.
very faintly.
Yeah.
It's so weird. My
That's
network is fine.
There you go. There you go. You got it.
Okay,
Yep.
that is really odd. Okay, well, let's try to rip through this before another person gets kicked out.
Okay.
Okay, please mute your cell phones and other electronic devices except for the ones that we're trying to talk into. I'm going to ask Rob to do a roll call for attendance.
Sure. Trustee Kripe,
Yes.
Trustee Caladarchi,
Yes.
Trustee Swerk,
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn,
Yes?
Trustee Apatow,
Present.
Trustee Lampier.
yes.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank
Bob,
you.
are you calling Chris?
I was not. He was observing tonight.
You can still mark him as present, just not participating, and the president pro tem will run the meeting.
Okay. Chris?
We know you're there. You don't, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right. I will ask Penny to lead us in the pledge.
I can do that.
All right.
I pledge of
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
Republic,
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice.
and
justice
justice for all.
Thank you, Penny.
You're so welcome.
Rob, do you want to do a quorum check?
Yep. Making sure I'm not muted. Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 5th. This is scheduled due to the election. Does everybody plan to attend that meeting?
Yes, I will not be out breaking leaves.
Okay, thank you. And then we have the November 10th study session and the November 17th regular meeting. Are those dates good for everybody?
Yes,
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Rob, you also have the 19th, right?
Yes, the 19th is a budget meeting. Is a budget meeting. We'll add it to the next agenda on the 15th.
Are all of these at 7 o'clock, the budget meetings?
They're all at
Okay.
7 o'clock. So budget meetings are scheduled for the 5th, 10th, and the 19th. And then any carryover goes into early December.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. And Kristen, can you check to see if we have any public comment? Anyone who wishes to comment on something that is not on tonight's agenda?
Yes, we do have public comment this evening. First, I will read the 3 comments that were submitted via email. The first comment, dear council members, I am responding to the discussion in Nextdoor about Jeremy Marino's raised garden beds on his parkway. At the very least, stop the court order and instead initiate a conversation about the purpose of the existing code and open a public hearing soliciting public comments. Our awareness of our environment and how people can contribute to our environment's health has grown since that code was initiated. We owe it to ourselves, our children, and generations beyond. Respectfully, Claudia Dancing, 510 Walnut Street, Winnetka. A second comment is from Liz Kunkel, representing the organizations of Go Green Winnetka and Winnetka Environmental and Forestry Commission. Her comment, yesterday I saw Jeremy Marino's Nextdoor post re the raised garden beds he planted in the parkway in front of his house on Cherry Street. Jeremy's thoughtfulness in his planning and execution of those garden beds is reflected in his post. Each trustee should please read his post and all the comments in response thereto. Go Green Winnetka encourages precisely the kind of careful yet creative out-of-the-box thinking about how to use our public and private spaces better. Jeremy exhibits with these garden beds. Beds benefit us all for the reasons articulated in his Nextdoor post: flooding, pollution, runoff, healthy soil and food, native plants, pesticides, decimated, in quotes, beneficial insect populations, in quote, community building, etc. They also help accomplish the goals of Greenest Region Compact 2, which promotes sustainability, strength, and vibrancy in the Chicago area communities, and which the council adopted in April 2018. The council should thank Jeremy for his work and request others emulated him rather than sue him. I respectfully request the council withdraw the village's ill-advised lawsuit immediately, rethink its entire approach to parkways generally and this matter specifically, and engage in a positive and productive conversation with Jeremy about an appropriate resolution to this matter. The third comment reads, dear Winnetka Village Council, I am writing regarding the garden and garden structure that have been placed in the parkway on Cherry Street in Winnetka. I have walked by this location numerous times and each time have wondered how it was allowed to remain as long as it has, and that it surely violates Winnetka zoning codes. Despite my dismay with the garden, I chose to remain silent because I don't relish the idea of being the one to bring pain to another resident. However, since then, I have seen that the owner of the property has himself posted the issue on Nextdoor and is garnering support. I dissented respectfully there and wish to do so in a more formal manner here. I am unequivocally against the zoning codes being altered to accommodate residents who wish to plant gardens in containers of any sort in the parkway. This would be an invitation to put all variety of creative projects right next to the road. The range of skill and opinion as to what constitutes attractive would vary wildly. I can't imagine village employees have the interest in or the time to make those kinds of subjective decisions. And if the Parkway gardeners are able to plead their case successfully, what next emotional plea will be next? How do we decide whose use of the Parkway spaces is more valid? It would be difficult to find someone who doesn't support gardens. We all know gardens are good. Most of us think that we should continue to think of ways to create more green space, attract more birds and bees, and to invest in the community and our environment. We also live in a community that values aesthetics and home values. My neighbor might build a beautiful garden and make its growth and beauty his life's work. I may have good intentions, but get busy, as is often the case, and neglect mine until the plants are dead and the wood containers are rotted. It's just a poor idea to allow gardens in the parkways. Gardens can be planted in one's yard. If one's yard does not have favorable conditions, then that's just kind of how it goes. Perhaps at some point the village might work with the environmental groups in Winnetka to create a public space where people can nurture a community garden. It's not in the parkways. I really appreciate your consideration. Happy to live in a community where we get a voice. Sincerely, Kari Alexander, 992 Pine Street. Those were the written comments submitted. We also have members of the public in the audience. So at this time, we will recognize the audience members.
Before you start opening it up to the individual audience members, can you just give us a sense of how many?
So in the audience, we have 3 members of the public.
Great. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The first,
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, Andy, I don't know if you want to make clear that about the Parkway, whose property it is. It might help people as we talk about this, as they give comments.
Sure, we can comment a little bit, but I'd like to just let's.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that people know that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Kristen. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first person I am going to recognize is Mickey Archambault. I'm going to press allow to talk. And then Mickey, you'll need to unmute your microphone to speak.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just listening in tonight.
Hey, Mickey.
No comments from me.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
Next, John Peterson. I'm going to allow to talk. And John, ask you to unmute your microphone if you'd like to speak.
Hey, thanks, Kristen. Just listening in. So thanks for the opportunity to join the village meeting this evening. So thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
And next is Jeremy Marino. I'm going to allow to talk. Jeremy, I'm asking you to unmute your microphone.
Hello. I'm the garden person. Yeah, I'll just give you a background. I think I sent everybody, copied you on an email that I sent to I've been back and forth with community development for a month or so. And just as a background on it, I called, I've been thinking a long time about how to rethink the parkway space. And, as for all the reasons kind of that I mentioned in that post too, about runoff and pollution and helping out, things. And so I thought a lot about it, what could I do? What would be interesting? What would be helpful? I called the village, seeking guidance, what do you do with this? Because I've never done anything with the parkway. And sadly, I was naive at the time. I didn't write down whom I talked to. So I don't know who that was, but that was kind of early springtime, late winter, early spring. And but they gave me some guidance. They didn't tell me about any kind of permits to fill out. They just said, basically it had to be under 3 feet for kind of line of sight. I couldn't hurt any of the parkway trees, nothing that would damage the trees in any way. I had to make sure that there was access to the utilities. And he said, just let you know if like they ever need to do any work in there, like they have to do the work there. It's the public property. And I was like, well, we just had all our new gas lines, new water lines, new street, new curb put in like a year and a half ago. I figured I was probably, fine for at least a couple of years. So, and I talked to my neighbors about it. I said, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And I talked to them like, what kind of veggies are your kids interested in eating? Just as a kind of guide point. And they may or may not have lied to me, but they all said they were good with it. And then I really thought about knowing, to the points that one of the commenters said, like I knew that Winnetka, like I couldn't just throw together some like spare wood and put a box out there, like it had to kind of match the look of the town or the feel. And so I, tried to design something and I landscaped around that, trying to make it look, appealing to fit the neighborhood. So while I was building it, a public works guy came by and said they had heard about it, and he was asking me, and I just said, I told him what I just told you. And he was like, oh, okay. The guy didn't really care. He was just kind of sent on to come check. Never heard anything. Then one morning, I saw a minivan kind of drive up and a camera come out the window and take a picture and then drive away, and then never heard anything. And then I got just a letter in July saying, take it down. And so then now we've been in this kind of like back and forth with me and the community development. So that's kind of where it's at. And kind of my main issue is not so much that I asked and all that, but just I'd love for the council to kind of like rethink the utility of the parkway. I'm not even asking that it allows for my garden, but just right now it's just that all I'm being told is, well, the code, and this kind of comes to a letter of the law versus spirit of the law. It's like the code says this, it has to go. And there hasn't been any kind of like rethinking about it. And there's plenty of violations of the code out there in the community that no one really cares about because it's just, oh, we're fine. So it was kind of like a combination of those elements that I was trying to do something good and positive, and this kind of been treated in this way where there was no kind of conversation about it. It was just take it down because this word appears in the code. So that's kind of a brief summary for you. Thanks.
Hey, Jeremy, thank you. You can hang on for a minute.
Okay.
So this is just the public comment section, just so you know.
Yeah.
And it's a great chance for us to hear from people about issues that aren't on the agenda, but we're not going to be in a position to like have the kind of discussion that I think it deserves. And I look forward to having a chance to, hopefully we're for Thursday, have coffee.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn a little bit more. Then maybe we can figure out, if there's more discussion to be had. Penny, I know you wanted to kind of just maybe comment on a couple things factually. One thing I'll just say, a couple of points. One, we appreciate you joining our meeting and speaking up. Obviously, this is a town that thrives on people having a chance to be heard, and we do that. That's something we all take extremely seriously, and we will do that here. Secondly, with respect to the Parkway, I do want to make clear to everybody that this is not a council that is sort of stuck in some kind of stoic vision of the law. There's a great rain garden at 1086 Oak Street that we approved. And it's a great example of the kind of thing, Jeremy, I think you're trying to do. And so it's just so people know, not an anti sort of Parkway planting approach, now this kind of sort through on your regard, but I think that's important. And then third, it might be helpful if either Peter, there he is, Peter. Peter, could you just clarify the status? We're not actually suing, right?
No, I never said you were. She kind of misread or misinterpreted what I wrote. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a code violation.
So it's like a citation?
Correct.
Okay.
It had very much like a speeding ticket vibe. Like you got a speeding ticket, you got to go to court. So.
Correct.
I think there'll be a chance for us to have some conversations before even the speeding ticket hearing or whatever. So, I think just so people know, we take the conversation part of this job seriously. We're going to do that here. So no one should at all be afraid that we'll do anything other than what we always do in these situations. And so, frankly, we don't get paid to do this, but we do it because we like doing that part of it. As sad and pathetic as that may be, this is the part we like. So Penny, was there?
Yeah. Thank you. Well, first of all, I think you need to stop driving your garden so fast. So that apparently is a problem. But I think that you're bringing this up, to the attention of the council and to the village is really great, because I think our parkway is often misunderstood, and the fact that it is village property, but people maintain it. And I think together with the conversations that we've been having and need to have more of relative to how can we use the parkway to better help control, flooding. Obviously, it's not going to take care of all the flooding, but, to help us in the issue. But also in terms of sidewalk development, it's a community resource. How do we use it? I think it's time for a conversation around this, and you're bringing it up is really helpful. So I think this is a good jumping off point, and I think we can do something good with it. So, yeah, thank you. It's a tough issue, and I've walked by your garden a lot. It looks great. So hopefully we can figure something out. So,
Hey, Andy, can I say a couple things?
Yeah, sure. And again, just, this is just to hear the comment.
Conversation, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, obviously I'm aware of the garden. I've seen all the emails that have been sent to us, and obviously the comments today. My biggest concern, I guess, is it is obviously, as you stated, Andy, public right of way.
Right.
And then by building something, and it's really not a rain garden and it's not really helping water drainage because it's built up.
Right.
So it really kind of doesn't help the drainage. My biggest concern is that with the wood structure, and Public Works should weigh in. Let's pretend we're in the middle of winter. You got a snowplow coming down the road, and it happens to go a foot off the road and hit that wood. That wood goes flying, hits someone walking on the sidewalk. It becomes a liability that was created by a private individual on public land that now the village might be taking on a liability. So I would really look at the liability side of it, as well as, just as it's not private property.
Right. Exactly.
And if you want a rain garden, or you want that garden, move it 10 feet north and you have it in your front yard. And keep it out of the public right of way. So, and it's not really a code issue, because codes and ordinances like the zoning ordinance applies to private property. I don't think the zoning ordinance refers to any construction in public right of ways. So it'll be an interesting discussion as it goes forward.
There's also a process issue in terms of when we identify a problem, how do we take care of it? That's a question too.
Yeah, and then really going further was to say that I want to build a garden 3 blocks away in someone else's right of way.
Right.
Does it have to be adjacent to my house? So all those little things kind of grow and grow in a situation like this. Thanks.
That's a good question, John.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could go downtown and build one down.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot here. And here's what I would suggest, guys, because we do have some other stuff on the agenda, and I don't think it's fair to you guys trying to decide this issue, or to Jeremy, or to the neighbors, to try to have a full discussion that, I think it's great that, Jeremy, you've come tonight and raised it, and John and Penny, you've talked about some issues. Rob, I suspect you've got some, Bob, and I bet everybody does.
Yeah.
But we follow a good process, and I think we ought to stick to that. And,
Agreed.
It's really good here talking in the direction. Jeremy, Thursday, 9 a.m.
Sounds great.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks.
All right, take care. Okay. Did I lose my agenda? Okay, no, Wi-Fi did not kick my agenda off my iPad. Okay. Any other public comment, Kristen?
No additional public comment.
Okay, excellent. Let's do reports. I'll start with Rob Apatow.
No reports today.
Okay, Bob Dearborn.
No reports, Andy.
Thank you. Jack?
No report.
John?
No report. Thanks.
Okay, Penny?
Nope.
Okay, and my only report is to report that the person who's listening in, Chris, I had a chance to talk to him yesterday. He's on the mend, and we're all looking forward to having him back soon. So just keep getting better, Chris. All right, let's move on to the approval of the agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove an item on the consent agenda for a separate vote? Nope. May I have a motion to approve the final form of the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All right, roll call vote, Rob?
Trustee Caladarchi,
Yes.
trustee Lampier,
Yes.
trustee Apitoff,
Yes.
trustee Dearborn,
Yes.
trustee Swerk,
Yes.
trustee Kreip.
And then Rob, do you want to read each item in the consent agenda?
Certainly. Approval of village council minutes for October 6, 2020, the regular virtual meeting minutes, and October 13th, 2020 special virtual meeting minutes. Approval of the warrant list dated October 2nd through the 15th, 2020, in the amount of $923,470.50. Resolution number R67, 2020, approving a Class A liquor license for Fresh Mex Tacos 3 Incorporated, doing business as La Tequiza, for adoption. By the way, they had their opening this week and it was terrific. Their ribbon
Yay.
cutting.
Good.
Resolution number R68, 2020, approving a Class A liquor license for Rusticana LLC, doing business as Marco Roma's Pizzeria, for adoption. And resolution number R70, 2020, a resolution approving an easement agreement for the installation and maintenance of utilities.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second?
Trustee
And
Dearborn,
roll call vote.
Yes.
trustee Lampier,
Yes.
trustee Caladarchi,
Yes.
trustee Swerk,
Yes.
trustee Apitoff.
Yes.
Yes,
Carries.
excellent. And I will say La Tequiza, it's awesome. For anybody who hasn't been yet, you know, my wife, who is Mexican, and I, since we moved to Winnetka, we've been missing good Mexican food, and it has now come to Winnetka. It is outstanding. Our kids love it.
Fantastic.
We're regulars now, so.
Great.
Okay, ordinances and resolutions. Resolution number R69-2020, New Trier High School temporary tent approval. This is up for adoption. The village council has approved, as you all know, several prior requests for classroom tents to help schools with social distancing of their students. And David Schoen will review tonight's request from New Trier. David, are you on? There he is. Go ahead, David.
Good evening. Just briefly to say that the school, like other schools in the community, have installed tents to have classroom activities in. The village manager has approved a temporary use of the tents until the village council has had an opportunity to review the request. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I know a representative from the school district was going to be here this evening.
Kristen, do we have that person? You're on mute.
This is Dave Conway. Can you hear me?
There's Dave. Hi,
Yes.
Dave. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing? And ladies, sorry.
You're with New Trier, yes?
Yes, I'm the Director of Physical Plant Services.
Great. What can you tell us about the tents?
Well, in order to get all the students we want in the school, we need a place to for certain things like feeding students, for places to get mask breaks, playing music, etc. And in order to do that, we need tents.
Great.
Unfortunately, they don't work very well in the winter, so we'll be taking them down shortly, and hopefully not having to put them back up in April. But we need to be prepared to be able to do that.
Okay.
We want to have our kids at school if possible.
I want to have my kids at school if possible.
I'm sure.
My sophomore is dying up there in his room. Any questions from the council for Dave? Or for Dave?
Yeah, I do. Am I on mute? You know, will there be any need for any of the tents past November 15th, you know, to provide space for the kids to go outside and get a mask break, even if it's cold, to wear a coat or anything?
We're trying to make other arrangements. We may have to, you know, maybe get a tent that would be heated and ventilated. with the electric heaters. But we're hoping we don't have to do that, because asking someone to go outside when it's, imagine it's 20 degrees in January and you have to go outside to get to a tent.
Right. But I was just wondering if, when it's not that cold, if, I just was wondering if you needed the flexibility to do that. So that was just a general question, not, just
Unfortunately,
just a
the
wondering.
tents take a while to set up. The ones that work for the purposes we want are either 40 by 40 or 50 feet by 50 feet. And you don't put those up and take them down on short notice.
Right. Okay, got it. Anyway, I was just wondering if we could be more helpful, but
We were trying to keep them over the winter, but it became obvious that it wasn't going to be possible without a great deal of expense and hardship. So,
got it.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on.
Can I thank David Schoen for all of his help through this permit application, please?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome, Dave.
Thanks a lot. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number R-69-2020?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second?
And a roll call vote.
Trustee Apatow,
Yes.
trustee Lampier,
Yes.
trustee Dearborn,
Yes.
trustee Swerk,
Yes.
trustee Caladarchi,
Yes.
trustee Kreip,
Yes.
and it carries.
Excellent. This may be a quick one, actually. Old business, there is none. New business, there is none. There are no appointments. There's no closed session. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Dearborn,
Yes.
trustee Caladarchi,
Yes.
trustee Swerk,
Yes.
trustee Apatow,
Yes.
trustee Lampier,
Yes.
and trustee Kreip.
Good work, everybody.
Great job, Andy.
Thank you. Sorry, I was a little slow on the uptake.
No,
Thanks.
it gave us time to sort out our tech.
Good night, everybody.
Go back to bed.
Thank you.
All right.
Go back to bed.
Talk to you later.